All right, so we finally got the gameplay trailer out that shows all of the abilities for Fuse, and things are going to be way more clear. We'll break it down in this video, as well as some things that are unclear and some crazy implications depending on how the abilities work, right? All right, so passive, the trailer is out, and from what I can tell, Fuse is a zoner, not a defensive class like maybe a Caustic or a Wattson where you could just lock down a building. Fuse seems to be more of a zoner. Think Horizon's ultimate, maybe without the mobility of the character. It's going to be the job of Fuse to maybe flush people out of cover and control the battlefield from the perspective of the enemy. We'll get into that. All right, so before we even start, who does this guy look like? I know it's not just me. So let's talk about the passive first. This has been in the game for a while where you can actually stack grenades. The code has always been there, especially from previous versions of the game. And now we're seeing the ability to stack multiple grenades into an inventory slot is going to be used for Fuse's passive, right? It was always in the game, now it's going to be usable, but also he's got his arm launcher where originally every other character will pull out the grenade and throw it. He has the launcher on his arm, and that allows him to throw grenades further, faster, and more accurately. Now, the more accurately is not really sure what that means, especially when the grenades go further, but definitely this is something that you could use a lot more tactically. In the trailer, he throws an arc star up a flagpole and man, it works, right? So that's the passive, more stacking nades, and the arm launcher can throw the grenades further, and it's just going to be a lot better, right? Now, the tactical is the knuckle cluster. This is going to be a bunch of concussion mines that you can just throw on a position. And again, this guy's going to be a zoner. He's going to be used to zones enemies out. You can throw this into cover and be able to flush enemies out, possibly. Now, there are questions with this, right? Like, how much damage does it deal? How effective is this going to be as far as just killing an enemy? If you look at the trailer, Bloodhound gets knocked. Now, we don't know how much damage it is, but Bloodhound definitely took enough damage to get knocked. So maybe early game, maybe in a weak enemy who's hiding behind cover, you could probably get a ton of value out of this. It's probably going to be situational because I don't think it's going to deal a lot of damage, which brings me to stuns. And this is where things get a little crazy, right? Because if this does any stuns, like for instance, a Bangalore ult, or if this affects your sound in the same way that Revenant's silence will affect your sound, then this could be very effective, right? If you zone an enemy out, you deal some damage with them, you do some stun or affect the way that they can hear, where they can't hear your footsteps approaching, then that could be very effective for the tactical. Again, it's very questionable, and until we see it in game, we don't know how much this is going to affect the person that you use it on, but definitely it looks like something that could be used for a push, right? If you've got an enemy in cover and you want to push them, hit them with this and push them, right? That's what I think it's going to be used for. Now, next is the ultimate, the mother load. Now, this is going to be another launcher, and the way it works is you launch the mortar in the air and it comes down, and it's basically a bunch of thermals that come out of his arm, right? And these will deal thermal level damage. Now, tons and tons of questions here. First of all, it is about the same diameter as the ult charger on Kings Canyon, so you get an idea of how wide this thing is if you shoot it directly up in the air. Probably not that great for zoning someone out of cover if you just end up dropping fire around them so they can't escape. But here's the question, and this is going to be really scary depending on how true or how not true this is, and as far as the functionality of it, right? Now, the question is, does this just explode from the mortar itself, or does it physically come from the sky like a Gibraltar ult? Now, if it comes from the sky like a Gibraltar ult, it's probably not going to be as scary per se, but if the fire or the thermals actually come from the mortar itself, imagine if you throw this at the ground at someone in cover and all of the thermals hit that enemy all at once. There's no way they survive that, and the ability would be insanely strong. Or here's the other alternative. If you throw this into a house, like imagine if you've got a Caustic on your team with his ult and Fuse on your team with his ult, and you throw this into a house and this doesn't come from the sky like a Gibraltar ult, it just explodes into a bunch of thermals. Yeah, that room's getting cleared out, right? So definitely this character is more of a zoner. And again, it's going to depend because there are a lot of questions I have about how this is going to work. And I think this is going to affect how strong the character is. Now, if I had to guess, this is probably going to be a strong character because I get the impression that Respawn wants their characters to come out stronger. So my guess is I would lean towards Fuse being a little stronger, at least all the way through season 8, and maybe see some dial back in season 9 rather than him being weak for season 8 and then stronger in season 9. I definitely see them going the stronger route. So my guess is that the zoning potential of this character is going to be insane. So everyone who's afraid of Caustic, whew, you got another nightmare coming. Now, one more thing is we do get a teaser of his finishers in the trailer. He actually does a finisher on Crypto, which is kind of cool. It's a fake pickup and he does them pretty dirty. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. The next video is going to be on the new repeater weapon. I have tons of information on that. I'll be dropping that later today. Talk to you guys later.